Ladies, and the occasional confused man in the audience, let's get one thing straight. When someone dares to hurt you, not by accident, not by mistake, but by choice, you don't cry, you don't chase, you rise. And better yet, you confuse the hell out of him. Because power is not about shouting louder, it's about smiling when they expect you to break. It's about silence when they want drama, and it's about walking away when they thought you'd beg. So, today, I'm not here to teach you revenge. I'm here to remind you of your worth. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools a person can possess, especially when someone has hurt you. When a man expects you to react with anger, tears, or endless questions, choosing silence throws him off completely. It shifts the power dynamic. He's waiting for a breakdown, a confrontation, a scene, because that would validate his control over your emotions. That when you respond with complete, unapologetic calm, it tells him that his actions are not even worth your energy. And that is the most confusing and humbling response you can offer. We live in a world where loudness is often confused with strength. Social media trains us to express everything instantly. Text him back, tell him off, post a quote, block and unblock. But silence requires a different kind of strength. It means you've reached a level of self-respect where you don't need to explain your pain. You don't need him to prove how much you cared. You don't need him to understand the damage he's done. Your quietness becomes your boundary. It becomes a wall he cannot climb. When you go silent, it forces him into a space of reflection. He begins to wonder, why isn't she reacting? Does she not care? Is she stronger than I thought? That discomfort he feels, that confusion, is not your responsibility to fix. That's the beauty of it. You've taken back your power simply by choosing not to give it away. Silence is not about avoiding your emotions. It's about processing them privately, with dignity. It's about reclaiming the narrative and saying, I choose peace over pettiness. There's also a spiritual elegance in silence. It gives you time to heal, time to observe, and time to reconnect with yourself without being influenced by someone else's manipulation. It allows your energy to settle. You're not trying to win a war of words, you're winning a battle of wisdom. You stop giving explanations to someone who was never listening in the first place. You stop rehearsing speeches in your head, and slowly you begin to realize your silence is not a pause, it's a full sentence. Sometimes when you choose silence, people assume you're weak, that you're stuck. But real ones know silence is a choice. It's deliberate, it's strategic. It speaks volumes about your self-worth. It's not the silence of fear. It's the silence of someone who knows exactly what they bring to the table and refuses to beg anyone to sit with them. When you respond with silence, you break a cycle. You no longer participate in the push and pull game. You detach without warning. You protect your peace. And believe me, that unsettles a man more than any argument ever. Confidence confuses, desperation confirms. It's as simple and as complex as that. When a man hurts you, his subconscious often expects you to fall into a predictable pattern. Seeking validation, pleading for closure, proving your worth through attention. That desperation, that need to be understood or accepted, only confirms the power he thinks he holds over you. But when you shift gears and meet the moment with confidence instead, the entire script changes. Confidence isn't about pretending you're not affected. It's about owning your pain without letting it define your actions. When you carry yourself like you know who you are, despite how someone treated you, it becomes unsettling for the person who thought they had emotional leverage. That smile you wear, the calm tone in your voice, the unbothered energy you walk with, those things speak louder than any text paragraph you could ever send. When a man expects a mess and sees mastery, that's where the real confusion begins. Desperation is loud, it's anxious, it begs for answers and chases validation. It tries to prove, fix, or explain. Confidence, on the other hand, stands still. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, and it certainly doesn't entertain someone who made the choice to hurt you. Confidence says, I'm not going to argue my value with someone who couldn't see it. And that statement, even if unspoken, echoes loudly in silence, in posture, in every action you take afterward. The truth is, men often test boundaries, not always consciously, but it happens. How you respond to being hurt shows them what you will and won't tolerate. Desperation teaches them that they can hurt you and still have access to you. Confidence teaches them that one wrong move is enough for you to detach. And that's a lesson they don't forget easily. When you act out of confidence, you remind them that your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. It's in the way you keep living your life. You go out, you create, you glow. You don't try to show off your healing, it just becomes visible because you chose to rise instead of spiral. That energy doesn't just confuse him, it haunts him. Not because you're trying to make him regret, but because you've shown him you were never dependent on his love to validate your worth. Confidence is also deeply internal. It's how you speak to yourself after he's gone. It's how you rebuild your peace, your goals, your vibe. It's not about being loud or dramatic. It's about quietly reclaiming your power, your time, your light. When you act from confidence, you stop explaining your boundaries. You enforce them. You stop proving you were good enough. You remember you always were. That energy radiates, and it confuses anyone who thought breaking you would be easy. Blow up, don't blow up. The difference between the two is the difference between emotional growth and emotional chaos. When someone hurts you, it's tempting to blow up. Whether it's by posting a fiery message, confronting the person with anger, or letting the world know how badly you've been wronged. But in the end, those moments of fury only leave you drained and the situation unresolved. Instead, you have an opportunity to take that pain and frustration and turn it into something powerful, something beautiful, something that speaks volumes without a single word. A glow-up is more than just physical transformation. It's the internal shift that happens when you decide you won't let someone else's actions define your emotional state. It's about taking the negative energy they sent your way and using it to fuel your personal growth. Instead of letting anger or resentment consume you, you decide to rise above, channeling that energy into your passions, goals, and self-improvement. You become a walking testament to your own resilience, not by reacting to the pain, but by transcending it. When you glow up, you are essentially telling the world, and most importantly the person who hurt you, that their actions won't bring you down. You don't need to show them your suffering, you show them your strength. Whether it's hitting the gym, diving into a new hobby, or focusing on your career, the glow-up process is about focusing on your own growth rather than wasting energy on drama or proving a point to someone who doesn't deserve your time. So you make your comeback your greatest flex. Glow-up also shows self-respect. You're not using someone else's wrongdoings as an excuse for self-destruction. It's easy to get caught up in the victim mentality, to blame the other person for your unhappiness, to feel justified in your anger. But a glow-up requires you to take responsibility for your own healing. You realize that while you can't control others, you have full control over how you react and how you allow their actions to affect you. You refuse to let them have the last word in your emotional journey. In contrast, a blow-up often comes from a place of desperation, to be seen, to be understood, to be heard. It's a reaction born out of a need to assert control over a situation that's already slipped from your hands. It may feel satisfying in the moment, but it rarely leads to anything productive. It leaves you exposed, vulnerable, and emotionally drained. And in most cases, it leaves the person who hurt you feeling indifferent. Because a blow-up isn't about growth. It's about giving them exactly what they want. An emotional reaction that they can use to continue the cycle of manipulation. When you glow up, you take back your power. You take back your peace. You focus on what you can control, your own evolution. The beauty of a glow-up is that it requires no external validation. It's a process that is personal, intimate, and profound. It sends the message that you don't need anyone's approval to feel whole. You are whole, and you're only getting better. It's a subtle, quiet form of revenge, because the real revenge is in becoming the best version of yourself, despite the people who try to break you. Leave with grace, not chaos. This is the ultimate form of self-respect, and it's a powerful statement to anyone who has hurt you. When someone wrongs you, the temptation to lash out or to create a scene can be overwhelming. It's easy to want to make them feel the same way you do, to drag them through the emotional mud in the hopes they understand how much they've hurt you. But what truly confuses and disorients someone is leaving them with nothing but your strength. It's the quiet dignity with which you choose to walk away rather than drowning in the drama of the situation. Living with grace means refusing to lower yourself to their level. It's easy to fall into the trap of reacting to pain with bitterness, anger, or frustration. It feels good in the moment to express your rage, to let them know how much you've been affected. But ultimately, that only keeps you tied to the person who has already shown they don't value you. It doesn't allow you to break free and heal. By living with grace, you're essentially saying, I will not be defined by your actions. I will not let your negativity become a part of my journey. Grace is a quiet strength. It's knowing your worth and acting in alignment with that knowledge, no matter how others treat you. It's having the maturity to understand that not everyone who comes into your life will appreciate your value. And that's okay. You don't need to convince them, you don't need to explain yourself or justify your feelings. You simply need to move forward. When you choose grace, you leave with a sense of peace, knowing that you didn't give them your power. You didn't let them dictate your emotional state. On the other hand, chaos only leaves everyone involved more tangled. When you react impulsively, it doesn't serve you. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of unresolved emotions, and it makes the situation messier than it already is. Drama attracts more drama, and before you know it, you've lost sight of what really matters: your own peace and dignity. Leaving with chaos means feeding into the negativity and prolonging the hurt. It's a way of staying emotionally attached to someone who has already shown they aren't worthy of your time or energy. Leaving with grace is not about being passive or avoiding conflict. It's about choosing not to engage in a battle that won't lead to anything positive. It's knowing when to walk away without needing closure, without needing them to see the error of their ways. You leave with your head held high, even if they never apologize, even if they never understand the impact of their actions. You understand that closure comes from within, not from someone else's validation. By leaving with grace, you take control of the narrative. You write the ending of your story on your own terms. Grace also involves self-compassion. It's about forgiving yourself for caring too much, for trusting the wrong person, and for being hurt. But more importantly, it's about knowing that you are deserving of love, respect, and kindness. Walking away gracefully means understanding that there's no point in staying in a situation that doesn't bring you peace. It means choosing yourself, even if it's difficult, even if it feels like the harder path. But in the end, it's always the path that leads to the most growth, to the most healing. In the end, remember this: you are not defined by how others treat you, but by how you choose to respond. When a man hurts you, the power isn't in revenge or seeking validation. It's in your ability to rise above, to keep your peace, and to take control of your own narrative. You confuse them, not by reacting in anger, but by choosing silence, confidence, and grace. You glow up, not blow up. Because your worth isn't dependent on anyone's approval. And when you leave with your head high, knowing your value is something no one can take from you. So take back your power, walk away with elegance, and let them witness the strength it takes to rise from the ashes without ever losing your beauty.